All right, everybody, welcome. I know we're late. We're a couple minutes late, as always. Had some technical difficulties. Had to reset the stream. Had to get all my links back up. So what we're going to do, also, let's make sure my voice, is the audio linked up with my voice? If we have any issues with that, I'm going to fix my mic right now. Let me know in the chat, how do we look? We got any delay on my voice? Let me know, gentlemen. Yes, we do. All right, we're going to switch that. Can't get that to work on StreamYard for some reason. Real quick. Okay, that should fix that. All right, so we're going to let everybody filter in here for the first couple minutes. Then I'm going to bring on our guest, Chris Piehota. Was in the FBI for, I believe, over 25 years. I'm super excited to have him on. He's got a great book that we're going to pin as well. Let's see. Actually, we'll wait for him to come on and he can tell us the best link to get that. So that's on there. The FBI, I used to know, I believe. And yeah, we're going to talk about the FBI today, guys, and the FBI's performance, we could say, or lack thereof, from an actual expert, someone who worked at the literal top levels of the FBI. And he knows way more than any of us do regarding the FBI. So we're going to do that for about an hour. And then we are going to, in the last 30 minutes before I got to go to the kids' football game, because yes, Friday Night Lights, we are going to do our 300,000 subscriber celebration, give away a bunch of merch. So thank you everybody for that. All right. So, all right. Well, we already got almost 2,000 people in here, so we might as well just bring our guest in, get it started. So welcome to the channel, Chris Piehota. As I want to get this introduction good enough. Chris, you spent over 25 years in the FBI working at the highest levels, I believe. And I don't want to introduce you wrong. I hate when people do that for me, but you were the director of the science and technology side.
Yeah, that's correct. I ran all science and technology programs for the FBI in my last post.
Okay. And yeah, so if anyone knows how the FBI works, I would say from soup to nuts, bottom to top, it's going to be you. And we want to talk today about, the FBI's role in this Charlie Kirk situation, because I bet if we did a poll right now and I said to the viewers, and we might actually do one while we talk, who trusts the FBI in 2025, I bet it would be abysmal. And I got to imagine for you, Chris, having spent so much time in that agency, that's got to kind of piss you off, right? I feel like that would piss me off as a Green Beret if my agency I poured all that time in or lost all the respect. So if you want to give us a little bit more deep dive on you and your career too, and some of the things you've done, so that way the viewers who don't know you already get a little better idea before we jump in.
Sure. I'll give you a real quick, and yes, it does piss me off, by the way. And but I'll give you a real quick nickel tour. Joined the FBI in '95, retired in 2020. And what I did for the FBI, I worked mainly in the national security arena after 9/11. I was in the Newark field office in Newark, New Jersey, and on 9/11, and I actually saw the smoke rising from the first tower strike across the river from my office. And it was go time from there. Worked in a number of national security roles, did a lot of overseas work with partners, worked in some counterintelligence areas in the, I would call it technical collection, right?
Okay.
We did a lot of that type of work with folks over in Langley at Fort Meade and some other components. And I was in charge of the field office in Buffalo, New York. Ran that office, covered the whole western side of New York for all FBI programs, criminal, national security, cyber, everything. And then went back to headquarters, and I ran the U.S. government's terrorist screening center. And I ran that for 24-hour global counterterrorism interdiction screening. I was the guy who was always getting sued for the no-fly list because I was the adjudicator. I decided who went on and who didn't, so I was always getting sued.
Right.
And in my last post, I was selected to run the FBI's science and technology program. And I had the largest FBI branch and the largest budget and the most people out of the entire FBI. And we did all of the the technical things, but basically, in a nutshell, I had three major components. One was the operational technology division, and that's where we did all of the James Bond type of spooky things for the technology. I had the FBI crime lab, which they are deeply involved right now in the Charlie Kirk incident. And also the criminal justice information services division. They ran all of the national asset programs for all criminal justice, biometrics. Whenever the cops pull you over, I know that's never happened to you, Nate, but when they do pull you over and they're checking their computer systems, they're querying our systems.
Okay.
So I managed all that as well as some counter IED stuff with the DoD as a partner. So in a nutshell, that's kind of where I spent 25 years of my life, and it was great up until the end when I watched the FBI take a turn and become this different corporatized FBI, which you could see where that led us.
Yeah, and I already see in the chat, there's plenty of people, once a Fed, always a Fed. This is where people are, the FBI has lost so much credibility. But for the viewers to know, I mean, and I pinned your book in the pinned comment for everybody. I suggest you all go buy it. I mean, your book is literally titled The FBI I Once Knew. I mean, you've been fairly outspoken about exactly what we're talking about here.
I've been on many shows, and while I don't go on, I'm not flame throwing the FBI, but I will call out their faults. I will tell you where they've misstepped and how they went off the path of being the FBI of old. As you mentioned when we first came on, the FBI was once one of the most trusted and revered of our government agencies, and they squandered that over the years, especially the past 4 years under the Biden administration. They were doing some really questionable and sometimes awful things, in my opinion, as I'm sitting out in the kind of peanut gallery now. And I just, in talking to some of my former colleagues, I'm asking, what are you doing? What's going on? And it was basically just that stuff was rolling down from on high. And they were trying to do their best to do their jobs and maintain their oath. And, I told one guy one day, he goes, well, why didn't they just not do it? And I said, well, there's a difference between being an independent investigator and an insubordinate investigator. And you got to kind of walk that line. And that's what a lot of them were doing. And there's still lots of good folks at the Bureau, but there were some not so good folks at the Bureau.
And I want to get into, let's start to jump into a little bit of this Charlie Kirk situation.
Sure.
Because I've got a lot of questions for you, basically, just based off what I've seen the FBI do. And I want to talk to you if this is like normal, because from the very beginning, the reporting of the FBI seemed so bizarre to me. I'm sure you're aware. Right in the start, this happens within an hour. Kash Patel's tweeting that we got the shooter. And then an hour later, he's tweeting, just kidding, we don't got the shooter. And then he tweets an hour later, we got the shooter. And it turns out, it's just a guy with a pellet rifle in downtown Provo. And then immediately, the second they think they found this murder weapon, which I don't necessarily believe it is, still they're posting it on Twitter. Like, when did the FBI? It almost feels like the FBI is like trying to be a media organization. Like, is this how the FBI used to work?
No, not at all. The FBI was actually on the other side of that spectrum of not telling anybody anything ever, to now running their mouths and a little bit over transparent. And my thing is the oversharing of information on social media is not how you govern FBI operations. I know that they're one of their pushes is to be more transparent, which, hey, I have no problem with, but you can't signal your investigative intent or your investigative direction when you don't have anybody in custody yet, right? That's not good stuff. And everything you say and do, it gives the subject, adversary, whatever the situation is, it gives them foreknowledge and it helps them develop countermeasures. And that's why I think that all that early tweeting was based upon emotion and adrenaline, and it showed kind of a lack of maturity on some of these things. And I hope they get better at it, but I haven't seen it improve because I've seen more types of tweeting like that. But I wish they would get off the social media and let some of the media experts handle this. The director shouldn't be putting that stuff out himself.
And Chris, a big problem, I think, is they kind of shot themselves in the foot in a lot of these ways by like immediately blasting out tweets. We got him. We don't got him. We got him. We don't got him.
Right.
We think we got him. Here's the picture of him, but maybe that's not him. Here's the rifle, but the 30-06 story makes zero sense. And so the FBI, who's supposed to be the credible source on this, is like
Right.
back and forth, back and forth. And then now nobody believes anything the FBI says, but they also sort of, they have a narrative. And so it's like, I feel like you're going to continue to investigate this if, let's say, they figure out, oh, maybe this is actually a different caliber weapon. Maybe the shot came from a different spot. We don't know. I'm tinfoil hatting here a little bit. How do they walk that back now?
Well, it's hard. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't, right? Because you've already come out and said what your investigative findings and direction and your investigative intent is, right?
Right.
Now you got to come back and say basically, well, what we meant to say was, right? And that's a credibility buster. Because one of the things I used to tell my folks, Nate, all the time was, the FBI has very small margins for error because it was an organization based on excellence. Not that it didn't make mistakes at times and do some stupid things, but it was basically an exercise in excellence when the FBI was on scene. A bunch of folks showed up. They were zipped up tight in suits, professional, squared away. If they weren't the best at something, they were really damn good. Yeah. And that's what everybody came to expect. So when the FBI has a flub or a stumble, it's really notable and it's not acceptable to the public.
And it's a track record now, right? Because if we think about it, like the Hunter Biden laptop story, why'd the FBI cover that up? And then you get to the Trump shooting and all the weird stuff with what's going on with that. And then you get to the Epstein files. And then you get to the Charlie Kirk shooting. And it's like all of these things, the public continues to lose faith in the FBI over and over and over again. And I don't know how do you reverse out of this? If you're the FBI director, you got to you got to do something now, because I just saw even Kash Patel just came out like 2 nights ago and was like, you know what? Now we're actually reviewing all the potential of a second shooter, of multiple people involvement. We're keeping the idea open for another weapon. So they almost like walking everything back to leave. But I mean, at that point, to what you just said, the credibility issue is now no one believes you. The American public doesn't believe anything you say now. How do you start to build that back?
Well, you have to do it by action, right? It's action and results, and that's it. And you keep your yap shut, you get the job done, and you do it in what I like to say is in a skilled, objective, apolitical, and professional manner. You go out, you find these people, you bring them in, you build the case that's ironclad, and then you hand it over to DOJ that they can prosecute, right? That's the model. And what they've started doing instead is looking for that social media approval of what they're doing, right? And you can't run. Look, you as a former Army Green Beret would never run a Green Beret operation over social media, right?
No.
Right? That's just not going to happen. So the FBI is the same way. When we're conducting investigations and operations, we shouldn't be telegraphing certain things over social media. And now they have to dig themselves out of a kind of a deficit situation from the early tweeting, the erroneous tweeting, and now you have, whatever they're talking about now. Well, maybe it was this, that, and the other. They're getting that off social media, and you're chasing social media approval instead of using the FBI's tried and true, very well practiced investigative approach. Right? The FBI they were the best manhunters in the world, and then we started doing other stuff and we lost that, and we lost the edge. And that's where you see them now scrambling. And one of the things is I responded to a number of mass shootings, just terrible situations. And once you do that, you learn, okay, here's the battle rhythm. Here's the cadence. This is what has to be done. This is how it has to be handled. Yes, people are screaming for information, but we have to make sure we actually solve the crime, right?
Yeah.
And, I think this current leadership team needs some folks around them that are going to help them do that, because they don't know how to do it. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory fashion. They just aren't experienced. Kash Patel, he was a lawyer, and Dan Bongino, Secret Service agent many years ago, worked protective detail. They never conducted those type of investigations. So they need some folks around them to help them with that. And I'm not sure they have the depth to do that right now properly.
That's what it feels like. It just feels very amateur. I mean, and to your point, when you're talking about chasing social media, it feels like YouTubers are doing a better job of maybe figuring some of this out. And the FBI is looking at the YouTube videos going, oh shit, maybe this story doesn't make sense. Now we got to figure out how to backtrack our way out of it. And that's like that. There's no reason that YouTubers should be the ones that are like, hey, FBI, this doesn't make sense. And the FBI goes, oh shit, that doesn't make sense.
Well,
That's
I'll tell you what, Nate, there was always a progression of when we would get to a situation, a crisis. There's what did you know? When did you know it? Who did you tell? And what was your role?
Yeah.
Right. That was always the kind of, okay, what's going on? And then you would relay info. And now that seems to be broken, where you have the FBI director himself posting things on social media. From the shooting the other day that happened, they were showing that stripper clip of I think they were 7.62 rounds. They looked like, with the anti-ice written on it at the ice shooting, ice facility. Why are you tweeting out pictures of evidence?
Yes.
You know, why are we doing that? Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's kind of odd, and it's a departure.
I want to get into some other things I saw that just make no sense. And so I'm going to pull up a video here, and it says something about this is a hologram or whatever. That's not the point at all of this video. The point is to show the crime scene. This is right after Charlie Kirk has been carried away, and it's actually a little bit after. So the crime scene here, as we're going to pull this up and look at this, it just nothing is secured. We'll play it here real quick. Nothing's secured. I mean, there's just,
all of you have noticed online.
Let's turn this sound off because that's conspiracy. But like, there's just people everywhere just walking through the crime scene. Like, nobody's like getting moved out of the area after an active shooter. Like, what? And I'm not saying necessarily this is all the FBI, but that's well after the shooting. And is that normal? Let's say somebody that knows. Is that normal crime scene behavior where we're just like, oh, people can do whatever they want?
No, absolutely not. First thing you do is you contain, you render the area safe, you secure the crime scene, because the FBI has to respond to the location, right? They have to get there with the proper people to do the crime scene processing. Yeah. You're going to have people that'll secure the scene. From what I understand, though, they only had 6 police officers for that event from the local PD.
I think it was less. I think it was only 3.
Okay, I heard 6. Yeah. So that's even worse, right? 3. Yeah. And then you had Charlie Kirk's own security detail, and maybe some, I would call them ushers, right, from the school that might have been helping people seat and, you know, that kind of stuff. So when the event happened and everybody kind of went into shock because of what happened, no one thought to secure the crime scene. Again, very, very basic law enforcement or crime fighting activity that was just skipped right over. And by the time the Bureau got there and we were able to secure the scene, or any other law enforcement got there and said, why are people walking around in there? You already have some crime scene contamination or crime scene degradation, right?
And we even see that from, I mean, and I'm not a tinfoil hat guy at all. Everybody knows that on the channel. I don't do that here. I try to look at everything objectively, but I watch videos of the Turning Point people just yanking down cameras, yanking SD cards out, like just completely. And the excuse was, well, we wanted to make sure we gave them to the FBI. Like, okay, maybe that seems odd, but I even talked to, I was telling you beforehand, I got a buddy that's over in the Utah County Sheriff's Department, and he said when the sheriffs arrived on scene, they basically said nothing had been contained. Nothing had been done. They were still trying to clear buildings and figure out what the hell was even going on. You had this old guy who they initially thought was the shooter because he's got his pants down screaming that he's the shooter. Right. And it's just, to me, it's so bizarre. And I'm not a law enforcement basher at all, but something this high profile in a mass shooting situation, that it was just like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. And even with the FBI, it just, when I talk about amateur, I don't think I told the viewers this. We were talking about beforehand when that post went out from Kash Patel. I was literally getting updated in real time from my buddy in Utah County Sheriff's Department, and I asked him. I sent him the picture of it, and I said, "You guys have the shooter?" And he goes, "We have no idea why the FBI is saying that. We have no one in custody. We have no leads. The only thing we know is it's someone wearing black." And the FBI is just saying that they have people. So to me, can you explain how is the FBI, is there not any, are we not talking to the sheriff's department? Like, how is this even happening? I mean, I'm sure you probably don't know either, but.
Well, no, I could tell you in a scenario sense, there was a breakdown in communications, right? The FBI was running way ahead of the state and local partners, right? When you have somebody on scene that's from one of the local departments or sheriffs or, state police or whatever, and they're sitting there saying, we have no idea what you're talking about, and the FBI is putting things out on the X platform, you have a problem, right? That information should be walked back to the partners to say, this is what we intend to release, so you can coordinate and make sure it doesn't have any negative effects to what any investigative steps are going on by any of the partners. And everybody knows this is what's going to be put out in the public. It shouldn't be a surprise. And it shows you, again, just a lack of, I hate to say a lack of experience. I don't want to sound condescending, but it was more of a lack of experience than to say, we've got to clear this with the investigative partners first before we put it out on the X platform. And I think when you're chasing that social media approval, the adrenaline got to them. I've seen where we were doing things based on emotions now. And the FBI used to be the most emotionless organization there was.
It should be. Yeah. Right.
We were emotionless. People used to say, the robots are here, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that has a certain charm to it when you're doing stuff like this, Nate.
Yeah. And I mean, I just can't, like we were talking about, it's just like almost like it's like they needed to be first. Like they need the win, right? Like we need to show everybody that we know what we're doing, right? It's almost like an insecurity thing from Cash Patel.
There may be some of that going on from what I've seen. Recently, I guess they brought in the co-deputy director, which is ludicrous. I've never heard of that, but they brought in a co-deputy director to sit with Dan Bongino.
What does that even mean? Co-deputy director?
I don't know, because there's no such thing in the many years of the FBI. There's no such thing.
Okay, great.
Because the FBI director is the political appointee. The deputy director has always been a career FBI agent who becomes the operations chief for the entire organization.
But that's not what we have. And no knock on Dan Bongino, but he's a Secret Service and podcaster.
Yeah, not derogatory. They bring in this other gentleman. He's the attorney general from the state of Missouri, right? And now he's the co-deputy director. And from what I understand, he was actually the initial choice of the administration to become the FBI director.
I've heard this story that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that he was supposed to be chosen, but they had accidentally said it was someone else, and so they were just like, "Nah, we're just going to go with it because we don't want to backtrack on announcing who we said it was going to be."
I don't know that. I just think Cash One Out is trying to make sure you keep the base happy.
That was a rumor that I heard. You know what I mean?
I think Cash One Out because you got to keep the base happy, and you got to make some promises come true. Whatever. But now this other gentleman's there. He was the initial choice for the administration, and now he's there as the number two of number two. And Cash may be feeling a little bit of insecurity. I don't know.
Well, I bet right now too, because the entire country is looking at him, the organization he's running, going, "What the hell are you guys doing?" I want to ask you. Let me get your perspective on something like this. Okay, so I've been hardcore adamant as a guy who obviously well-versed in firearms, ballistics. I got a 30-06 right here. I just finished up a full ballistics test with this obnoxious things that we shot. Cow femurs wrapped in 8 inches of beef, steel plates. I got a 1/2 inch steel plate right here, guys, that this 30-06 basically blew right through. 1/2 inch. That's as thick as my finger. So what I want to ask you is, and I've been adamant from the very beginning, I do not believe this 30-06 story from 150 yards hit Charlie Kirk in the neck and the round just stopped nicely in his neck. It doesn't seem physically possible. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't possibility that this is like a drop gun or a decoy gun. It's got the DNA and the FBI found it. But what I want to ask you is, as the FBI, you find this gun and all physics and anatomy and everything says to you, this should not be the murder weapon. What would you do in that sense? Obviously, you wouldn't have tweeted out immediately, "This is the gun," before you probably had an autopsy report to confirm that. But like, what do you do in that situation where you're like, well, we got a potential murder weapon, but physically it doesn't make sense this could be a murder weapon? How do you work your way through that?
All right. First thing, there's no tweeting. Right, that was frowned upon.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So no, what happens is the FBI laboratory would show up. The FBI laboratory would show up and do a shooting reconstruction. and they would
Okay.
take and reconstruct the whole shooting environment.
Right.
And they would also try to collect any rounds or any materials that would have been maybe passed through or, lodged anywhere in the ground somewhere. They would have gone to the rooftop. They would do all the laser shots and everything, looking at trajectory. They would have done all of those things, and they would have actually been they should have been part of the non-autopsy of Mr. Kirk to retrieve any bullet fragments so they can, and this hasn't been
This
confirmed
autopsy
yet.
stuff is weird too.
Yeah, that's very strange. But they should have taken that bullet and the bullet remains and matched it to the actual weapon itself.
Right.
To say this bullet was fired from this weapon and this is what, was the kill shot for Mr. Kirk, right?
Yeah.
That hasn't happened yet. All we're
Correct.
hearing about is DNA on the gun, DNA on a towel, DNA on a screwdriver. Okay, you matched him to the weapon, but the weapon has not been matched to the shot. That's what
Correct.
all of the FBI folks would have been figuring out when I was still there. I would have been knee deep in their back pocket for all of those things as quickly as possible. They would have done the reconstruction. The FBI has very, very good post-shooting event investigators. Very good, right? So they would have been there doing that. And my operational technology guys would have been there collecting all of the social media, the audio, the video. They would have been putting it all together in a timeline, right?
Yeah, you're
So
right.
all of that,
Yes.
Yeah, all that stuff would have been happening. And any gaps in the timeline, we would have been working as leads to fill in. Okay, we don't know this, or this. And then you go out to the field office and say, you must find these bits of information.
Yeah.
That's a very rough order of magnitude of what, and they would have been doing interviews of all the people who were there.
That's what I'm wondering is
Right.
why have we seen nobody? And I know, Chris, I know people that were in the front row sitting in front of Charlie. Right. I mean, literally I mean, they've sent me actual videos from their footage, from their phones. Like I was standing right here. One of the guys was a 20-year law enforcement in Utah. Right. And he said, nobody's talked to me or even asked me about this.
Yeah. See, those are gaps in the investigative procedure that we would have pushed on and said, we need this information. You must go out and interview these people. We would have also set up, and we did this during the Las Vegas shooting and subsequent shootings. We set up a portal for people to say, hey, look, we'll take any format. You send in your still or your video footage, we'll take it. And then we use certain analytics on it and we put it in a timeline, we standardize it. They'll enhance videos and things of that sort, right? So all that stuff's going on at the same time while we're also looking at other investigative avenues of who else could have been involved. Was this part of a bigger shooting conspiracy? Are other people in danger? Things like that would have been going on as well as, collection of social media, all that stuff, right? All the things they're doing, but it just seems kind of disjointed right now.
Can you, I want to talk a little bit about, and maybe maybe you don't know what the legalities of some of this stuff. It's not just the FBI that's put out weird stuff. Turning Point has been part of the problem too, because they put out that, initial post that the surgeon went through, and he said that, the man of steel neck theory, which as I just showed you guys, that, why the man of steel story doesn't work either, because a 30-06 cuts right through steel like butter too, guys. But they put that out, and then there's also Turning Point puts out that, oh, well, actually there's a medical examiner report, and it hit him in the spine, and it tracked down into his heart. And then there's one today that says, oh, there's no autopsy. And then there's one today that says, actually, there was an autopsy proving that a 30-06 round severed the spinal cord, but somehow didn't create an exit wound. Right. What's the actual legalities on, I don't know if you would call it HIPAA or what. Can a surgeon or a medical examiner just tell a random person from Turning Point this type of stuff like 2 days after a shooting? Or would they have to do like through the next of kin? Because it just seemed very bizarre to me that the Turning Point as an organization is just like, yeah, we talked to the surgeon. It's like, did you? Is that something? I don't know if you know that for working with the FBI and crime scenes, and it's very odd.
Yeah, a couple of items there. Once you're dead, you have no more right to privacy.
Okay.
Interesting. So once you're deceased, your right to privacy ceases, right? And it's part of an investigative thing. And who I fault here, and I hate to say it, but I fault the FBI for not wrangling everybody together and saying, hey, we're going to do this in a controlled manner. This is going to be something that part of our investigative approach. We need everybody to please shut up, right? Let's get together and do this. And they haven't. It appears they haven't done that. And
No,
I think you're
it doesn't look that way at all.
right. And you're looking at some emotion here too. You know, the whole it was a miracle and all that nonsense. Okay, all right. Maybe it was. I don't know. But like you said, a 30-06 round. That's not happening.
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, exactly, Chris.
That's not happening.
We're all saying that. Everybody who knows anything about a 30-06 or ballistics is just rolling their eyes, going like, "I've got this 30-06 right here that shot. We killed a moose with it. It shot through and through moose bone. It's like what
exactly?
What
and
are
at 100
about?
at 150 yards,
right? Yeah,
I've heard people say, "Well, maybe the bullets slowed down." No, stop. That's not.
That's what I keep, and thank you for that. We have just somebody who's seen, I'm sure, plenty of crime scenes and seen a lot of gunshot wounds and things like that. It just doesn't work.
But here's another one, Nate. I tried to explain to some people: the throat is not a target, right? The throat is not the primary target. When you're looking at this, you're looking at head or you're looking at center mass generally, right? I mean, I'm walking into your world a little bit, right?
No, you're not wrong.
I think what happened is this guy, everybody said it was a professional. This guy wasn't a professional. I think what he did was he miscalculated. He was off site a little bit. He miscalculated distance or whatever he did. Maybe his scope was off a little bit or whatever. But he still
it probably was because it was 4 inches too far back on his rifle. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not absolutely. This setup wasn't great either, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that he still I hate to say he got lucky, but he ended up with a fatal shot on Charlie Kirk anyway, right? And so he wasn't a professional. But what I did tell people is you could see that the event was pre-planned.
Yes,
there was pre-planning, right?
Yep,
but he was not. He was by no means a professional. So,
I think, and here's what's crazy, Chris. If the FBI doesn't put that Mauser 30-06 narrative out right out the gate, the actual story is not that unrealistic. If I can say, hey, maybe he's using a 300 blackout or a 5.56 or a 22 or something like that. Now all of a sudden I'm like, well, this narrative actually makes sense. Like I could see this whole thing planned out. But then you throw in this crazy and I've watched footage from before and after. You cannot prove to me that he went to the top of that roof with a 44-inch 30-06 in his jeans or in his little tiny backpack or anything like that. So we got big problems with that too. I want to get to a question we got from one of the viewers right now because it's a good one. It says, honest question, Joe Saunders. Thanks, buddy. Honest question. I grew up understanding the FBI, the original G-men, were world renowned for the scientific empirical approach. If they are now a politicized civil servant organization, could they find their way back? I think that's a good one.
Yeah, a great question. And I wrote about this in my book that you were nice enough to talk about. This is where the FBI ran off track. The culture declined, the leadership environment declined, and they departed from some of the operational practices that, as this gentleman said, were empirically tested. I mean, this is how it works, right? And with the FBI's problem right now is they suffer from a cultural decline. The FBI used to have a certain culture to it. When I joined, there were still guys that wore fedoras to the office. They were the old guys, right? And those are the guys I learned how to be an agent from. And they would have they just didn't tolerate any nonsense. And we were new guys, and they said, "Look, we'll kill you if you do anything to embarrass the FBI," right? Yeah. And that was the mentality, and that culture went away. When Jim Comey and those guys came in, they tried to corporatize the FBI. They wanted to run it like Google and Netflix. They were sending people out to these places. We started having climate surveys and this kind of shit.
Yeah, that started happening in the military and special operations at the exact same time.
And look at all the benefits that it brings, right? Yeah, outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened to us at the same time frame, so I could see that.
So we were starting to suffer from that cultural erosion. And in the leadership environment, we were breeding generations of timid, scared leaders. Scared.
Yeah, we're doing that too in the military.
Oh my God, it was terrible. They were more interested in being liked than they were with being effective operational managers. They wanted good climate surveys and all this stuff. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, what the hell are we doing here? And we used to get in arguments about it. I'd say, are you kidding me? There are people who worked for me who got terrible climate surveys. And I would say, I don't give a shit. They're absolutely phenomenal operational leaders. I don't care if they get the, frowny face or whatever that nonsense is. I don't care. They do a great job and they keep people safe. And I used to protect them. And then
Well,
the third
that's
thing was,
oh yeah.
I'm
So
sorry.
go ahead. Sorry. No, you're good. Go ahead.
No,
Keep going.
but I was going to say the third thing was the operational practices, right? The FBI is a operational investigative component, and we started departing from the way we did things that made us legendary.
It
We
feels that
started
way.
doing other things. We started getting distracted by garbage like DEI and all that stuff. And the FBI forgot how to navigate the political environment. You can't get away from it being in DC, but the FBI used to have a steel backbone, and they would just say, "No, we're not doing it. No, we're not doing that." Right? And now the FBI leadership has gone to more of an appeasement, and they want to make sure that politicals are happy and all that. Where the old time G-man would just say, "Nah, not happening," and they would just, "You're not going to make us do this," right? Because they knew what was right and what wasn't. So that's where they ran off track. Now, can it get back? Absolutely. Get them
I
some
think so.
leadership. Get them some leadership in there. Under the proper leadership environment, the FBI will snap back into place within 6 months with the right leadership. You get rid of some of the shitbags that are still there. You get rid of some of the folks who took the liberty of substituting their personal, ideological, or political beliefs for the FBI's mission parameters and the FBI's mission requirements. You know what the mission statement is of the FBI, Nate?
I don't.
To protect the American people and uphold the Constitution. That is the FBI's mission statement. Very short, very direct, and that's what it should be doing. And the way it does it is by investigations and operations to combat national security threats and crime problems. That's it. And if we're doing anything else, stop. And we got distracted by all this other garbage. When people would come to me and say, "Hey, we want to do this," and I would say, "How does that help the case agent?"
Yeah.
And I would get these blank stares. So.
Well, and I would say this, Chris, how does all this shit the FBI has been doing help the case agents? Tweeting out evidence before it makes any sense?
No.
Like doing press conferences saying shit like, "I'll see you in Valhalla, brother." Like, that's the FBI director. What do we
That's
this
theater,
is like
man.
it's exactly what I was going to say. It feels like
Theater.
they're more concerned with putting on a show than they are with solving the crime. That's I think what I think it looks like.
Yeah. I just think that again, they haven't done this before. They haven't been prepared for it properly. I'm not saying that their intent is bad. I just think that people expect a lot out of the FBI and the FBI director, and I think they're learning as they go, and they just don't have the environment to learn. It's not a peacetime environment for them.
That's what I was literally just gonna say that to you, Chris. This is not the time to be learning as we go.
Right.
In these
you
type
need to walk
of situations.
in there. And I'll tell you another thing. It's like he doesn't have anybody sitting around him right now to sit at a table with everybody, and they're giving him a line of bullshit, or they're giving him the happy
that's
talk.
so true.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's your senior leaders?
Yeah. I'm telling you, Nate, I could sit across from these people and say, "That's unacceptable, gentlemen. And why aren't we doing this? And who's doing this? And whatever. And that is garbage over here. You better get those folks right, because I've done it before, and it's not that I knew how to do it. I learned how to do it from the guys who came before me, and you can see them putting foot to ass during these situations.
Yeah,
and that's how you learn. And these guys just haven't had the cycle time.
I got another good question here, and I think this is a really interesting one from Halos Fan 22. He says, understanding why the previous admin's FBI would be corrupt, what is the motive for this FBI to be so dishonest? I don't get it. Makes no sense. How you get that many people to agree on being dishonest? Here's what I want to ask you before you answer that, Chris.
Sure.
And we see this in the military too, right? Like, you got the new administration in, you got all these new directives, and you're going to cancel DEI, but mid-level leadership and officers and field grade officers that have been in for 10, 15 years and come from that era, they actually are like doing what would I say? Active resistance against this type of thing. I don't know. Is that something you would potentially see in the FBI, as you have sort of that mid-tier people that are just like, nah, we're gonna work against this? I mean, that is a big organization, but I mean, you would know better than me on that.
I think you'll find pockets of that resistance, varying levels from active to passive. They just won't do things. They'll slow things down. They don't believe in what the new leadership's trying to do, and they're just not cooperating, right? And,
Yep.
and you know from your UW training, all you have to do is drag your feet and be a
Mhm.
pain in the ass, right? Not
Yep.
necessarily do anything wrong,
Yep.
but just
No, you're
gum
right.
up the works, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of what you're going to find in certain parts of the Bureau. There are still people who believe in what the last administration was doing with the woke nonsense and the BS and the DEI and everything else. But what I say is that when Kash Patel and his senior leaders are doing this, I think there is a tipping point between, and I hate saying it, but there's a tipping point between ineptitude and
Mhm.
dishonesty.
Yeah, I think
Right.
everybody feels that right now.
Right. So some days I think you got a little bit more ineptitude. Some days they're holding things back because of whatever reason. I couldn't tell you, right? But when I'm standing
Yeah.
in front of people and I'm going to say, hey, this is our investigative update. Here are the things we know. This is what we don't know. I'm not telling you what exactly we're looking at and who we're looking at. I'm not telling you. I'm not going to say we're going to have the guy in custody in 48 hours. I'm not doing any of that. But I'll tell you
Yep.
where we're looking to go on certain things and how the things are progressing, right? I think again, dishonest, inept, and I say inept meaning that lack of training, right?
Right.
Lack of experience. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure where we are on any certain day, but
On the spectrum of that. Yeah.
exactly. I'm not sure, but I think it could be a combination of each. They're holding things back. I think they also have to keep their bosses happy, right? So they're trying to balance
Yeah.
that too. And I'm not making excuses for them because I think that some of these things have been handled in they're just debacles, right? They're terrible.
Yeah.
They've been handled amateurishly, from the whole Epstein list to all this other stuff. There's just been a series of just, maybe just bad decisions.
Now, here's I'm going to bring up another post I saw. I don't know how accurate this is, but I do want to talk to you about what happens next for the FBI, right? Because we kind of have the official narrative. The FBI's official narrative is kind of locked in stone a little bit, and I don't know, again, how true this is because it's from the Patriotic Blonde, but I think it's kind of interesting. I think she's probably not that far off. And it says, so Director Cash is getting ready to announce that after only 7 days, the FBI has wrapped up their investigation in the murder of Charlie Kirk and can definitively state that Tyler Robinson was the lone shooter. No one was funding or otherwise aiding him in the assassination, and that there will be no further investigation into this comment. For me, I mean, I think it's pretty realistic, Chris, that this is what the FBI is going to do. And they're going to say, this is our story. We're going to take it to trial. I'll be honest, and you'll know way better than me, I don't see a whole lot other than circumstantial evidence. And like, if he's got a good lawyer and this is the story we're going with, is that this kid that you never see take a weapon to the roof somehow has a 30-06 broken down and shoots Charlie Kirk in the neck with ballistics that make no sense. And he gets, caught by turning himself into his dad, but then won't admit it. I mean, I feel like they got a tall order to find this kid guilty with the evidence the FBI has now. What do you think? Are they gonna? It's conjecture, right? But if you had to guess, is the FBI just gonna say, "Nope, this is the story. Here we go," or do you think they're gonna actually try to continue the investigation?
I sincerely hope that that's not their strategy, is to say that it's all said and done and everything's been wrapped up. There are still a lot of loose ends and gaps in the investigative model, so to speak, and I don't think the American public's going to accept that. I think you're going to
No.
I think you're going to see a lot of blowback on that, and I don't think the American people like being buffaloed on things where it's like, hey, believe us, this is what it is, and the FBI squandered that credibility a long time ago from way back when the FBI said, hey, this is it. And everybody's like, hey, good to go. It's not like that anymore. And I certainly hope they continue to look into things to where they can give everybody I can't say complete, but as complete as possible picture of what happened. I will tell you just flat out, those transcripts between the suspected shooter and his significant other, I don't understand what they were doing there. And here's the thing with the suspect. All he has to say is, yeah, I said that stuff, but I didn't mean it. It wasn't me.
Okay. I was just bragging to my friends.
Yeah, I was just trying to, get some street cred on whatever social media
on
site
Discord or whatever.
Discord or some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
But But then they're going to say, well, what about the gun? Yeah, that's my gun. Right.
Yeah.
And was that gun used to kill Charlie Kirk? I don't know.
Nope. Yeah.
Right. And you can watch things start falling apart real quick.
Real fast.
And until the Bureau comes in and says, we don't know these things, we must continue to where we can disprove it or we can prove it. Mm-hmm. Right. That's the killer. And I remember when I was a young guy and I'd say, well, we just don't know this shit. And the old guys would say, well, get the fuck out there and find out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it feels like that's not what's happening, Chris. And that they're just like, nah, we got it. Yeah, it's good enough. It feels like a good enough. We're good enough to trick not trick the American people, but like, yeah, well, they'll believe it. We're good.
Listen, man, one thing I found when I was coming up is nothing was ever good enough for these people. Right? They would try to suck blood from a rock. You know what I mean? When we're out there saying, come on, man, we can't find anything else. They say, nah, try harder.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it was. And I think we've capitulated a lot of that former Bureau toughness.
Chris, we have a saying in Army Special Forces, and it's every time you walk up to your team sergeant and you can't figure out a problem, just like you're saying, there's no sympathy. The literal thing you'll hear every single time is, well, you're a Green Beret, figure it out. And that's your answer. And you go figure it out.
You're an FBI agent.
Yeah, go figure it out.
FBI agent, deal with it, right?
There's no we don't know. It's like, no, figure it out.
So I'll tell you real quick. When my guys would come in with that kind of shit, right? And I used to tell them, look, I had 4 rules to live by. I written on a big whiteboard in my office. And I used to say, look, rule number 1, tough shit. Figure it out. Bad things happen, right? Tough things happen. Yeah. Deal with it. Rule number 2, if it doesn't suck, we don't do it. Because if it was easy, somebody else would have already handled it.
Yeah, seriously. You're right.
Somebody else would have already taken care of it. People expect
local law enforcement got it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But people expect us to do things that are difficult, things that are dangerous, that other people can't or won't do. The third one was, don't make assumptions. We're an investigative agency. Get out there, test for outcomes, look for logical investigative conclusions, right?
Yeah.
It's part of our name, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And the last one is never be a liability. When we show up places,
oh my God,
people should be glad to see us. People should say, thank God they're here, right? Even if they don't mean it openly, they're quietly thinking, oh my God, I'm glad they're here.
Right.
Because we are either the best at something or we're pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it feels like all 4 of those are not being met, Chris. Your four whiteboard guidelines just ain't getting done right now.
The culture changed. That's what I was talking about earlier. The culture of the FBI changed to where now the FBI capitulates to this multicultural, multi-generational workforce instead of like when I came in, man, those guys kicked our ass and said, here's how you're going to do this. Yeah, but nothing. Right.
I think that's everywhere in society, Chris. It's in the military. It's in all the agencies. I think it's in the civilian world and businesses. I don't know, and that's not an excuse. I think that in agencies like the FBI or special operations or the infantry or whatever, it's like these are typically organizations that have not faltered from course for, since their inceptions. And so there's really no excuse for like, oh, well, it's a generational thing and things have changed. And now that's why the FBI sucks at their job. Like, I'm sure you hear that and you're just like,
no, that's nonsense. Because I'll tell you, on one side of a consequence scale, Nate, is things didn't get done. It's embarrassing. Somebody get their ass chewed out. On the other side of that consequence spectrum that we worked in, people's lives, livelihoods, well-being, damage to property, whatever it might be. In between those 2 extremes is where we did business on a day-to-day basis. And people forgot that. The FBI is we're there to protect people. And I use this analogy. The FBI used to be seen like that. We should have been seen as the most fearsome, snarling guard dog to our enemies and our adversaries. When they see the FBI, they should say, oh, hell no. Mm-hmm. We're not going close to these guys. But that same guard dog on the other side of that coin, if you flip the coin, that's that same guard dog that you have no problem watching that dog lay on the floor and play with your kids.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, the sheepdog.
And anybody comes by those kids, that dog will protect it with its life.
Yeah.
And that's what the FBI used to be.
And now you don't know
Okay.
if this FBI it's a pit bull, and you don't know if it's going to bite you or bite your kids, or if it's not going to protect the house. We don't know anything.
Or it's become a poodle, and you don't know if it can protect any damn body.
Yeah. All right. Last thing, Chris, before
Sure.
we let you go, I want to ask, and thank you so much. This has been awesome. What would this is kind of hard. If you're the FBI director right now, you shit the bed. We're at where you're at, right? In modern, what do you do right now as the FBI? If this is you, do you say, fuck it, we got him, throw him to trial, hands up, we can't do anything? What would you actually do if you're in charge of the FBI right now?
Me, I'm standing in front of a podium. I'm admitting that we made some early mistakes and we had some information confusion, information management confusion. I'm going to tell people we are working with our partners. We're getting synced back up on this. This is an important national issue. We made some mistakes. We're regrouping on this. It caught us by surprise. I'm sorry. Here's what we're doing moving forward. And you can expect a weekly update from us on anything we find with our partners. I'm going to own every mistake. I'm going to own it. And I'm going to say the law enforcement people out there, FBI agents, police, sheriffs, they're doing a phenomenal job. This is my problem, and we're going to fix it. And what questions do you have? And I'm going to take all the arrows, and I'm going to take all the rocks thrown at me, and then we're going to move forward, and we're going to get our shit together, and we're going to find out what happened. And if there's anybody else involved, we're going to bring them in, full prosecution of the law. We can manage. And if there's nobody else that we find, we're going to close all the investigative gaps we find, and we're going to give DOJ an airtight case.
Well, Chris, I wish you were in charge of the FBI right now, because that actually gave me some confidence. Like, oh, we might figure this out. Unfortunately, you're not. And
well, Nate, I'll tell you something. There are still people there that you can depend on. They're not old breed guys like I learned under, but there's still some decent folks there that are trying to do the best they can.
Yeah.
And it's like swimming upstream. And it's like, what it's like? It's like being a Spec 4 somewhere, and things are kind of screwed up. And people say, well, why don't you do something to fix it? Okay. What's my Spec 4 life? Because, what am I going to do to fix this? Right?
No.
It's not an excuse, but it's just how
I've been in situations like that where you're frustrated and leadership's not really doing what you can, and you can't really do much about it. All you can do is your own job to the best of your ability, which I hope those guys are. But yeah, so thank you so much, Chris, for coming on. We've had like 10,000 concurrent viewers listening to us yap, and you definitely are an expert. I learned a lot of things. Also, guys, pin comment still. We have Chris's book. Make sure you go grab it. Wanted, the FBI Once Knew. As you can see, I know everybody, all the viewers at the start were probably like, this Fed, he's going to cover up for the FBI. And now they're going, oh, okay, I kind of like this guy. So make sure you go grab that book. No,
I try to be honest and measured. I love my former colleagues, but the FBI, the mighty FBI, can stumble. It has stumbled. It will stumble. And I think all we can do is now that I'm in the public, Nate, is try to support them the best we can. Let them know when they're screwing things up, and hopefully they'll listen. Yep.
All right. That'll do it. All right, guys, we're going to move on to we got 300,000 subs we hit, Chris. So we're doing a little bit, like 30 minutes.
Outstanding.
So we can,
congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you so much. Hopefully we get you to come back on and we talk some stuff in the future. All right. So thank you very much. And guys, go get Chris's book. Anything else, Chris, for the viewers before you leave?
No, sir. I appreciate the time with everybody, and wish everybody a great weekend out here.
All right. See you, Chris. All right, guys. So as you can see, you guys all thought we are going to have some Fed simp, and that's not the case. Chris is awesome, man. A lot of integrity on that guy to be able to come out and, just call balls and strikes. That's what that guy does, and you got to love that. All right, let's hit some of these super chats. Guys, we're going to start giving in some giveaways. We got about 30 minutes before I get to jump out of here. Now, for those of you who want to stick around, we're going to celebrate 300,000. We're going to talk a little bit about your guys' questions, some microphone lapel gun stuff, anything else. All right, let's hit some super chats. Make sure we didn't miss them. Some of them, hello from South Beach. Welcome. First comment, new fan, Keith. Appreciate you. What did I miss? Top C video. Well, that's probably from earlier. Could the 30-06 round be hand reloaded by the grandpa and be underpowered? Could the round be a flechette? Why no carved case on unfired rounds? All right, let's get into that. Could this 30-06 round be a reloaded round, right? That grandpa reloaded? Could it be old? All right, yeah, maybe, but probably. Here's the problem. You have to put enough grain in this 30-06 round in this giant cartridge for it to still fire correctly. And if you put enough grain in this for it to fire correctly, it is still blowing through a human neck at 150 yards 10 out of 10 times. If it's so low and it's got such little grain and it's just so shittily put together, it's probably not even going to fire right. So highly unlikely that would be the case. As for the carvings on the casings, I don't know, guys. Very odd that every time there's a mass shooting, they carve on the cases. Turns out now I've heard the FBI is claiming it's not carving. It was Sharpie. So take that for what it is, Watermelon size, nothing to see here. Y'all assuming the 30-06 is a factory round? Yeah, it's still, again, a flechette round. Okay, here's the problem with your flechette round. It hits, it breaks up. How come the supposed autopsy says the round was in his neck? It would have to be a full metal jacket round for you to find it in his neck. So, no, that's debunked as well. I know people really want to make this 30-06 story work, but you're not going to make it work, man. Here, I said this on Alex Jones today. You guys want me to make the 30-06 story work? Chat. I can make the 30-06 story work. Do you want to hear how many assumptions I have to do to make a 30-06 work? Chat, are we ready? You want me to make the FBI narrative work? We can do it real quick. All right, here we go. So, 4. Jasmine says no. I don't even want to hear it. Good for you, Jasmine. All right, guys. So, devil's advocate. Here we go. How to make the 30-06. We got our 30-06 back here. Let's see this thing. Yeah, I'm not going to grab it. You guys can see it back there by the painting. There's 2 of them. See them? All right. How do we make this work? All right. So let's say we've got old ammunition. It's a reloaded cartridge. I only put maybe 110 grain in it. Anything below that, it's probably not going to even fire. Okay. What I have to have the round then do is I have to have it squib fire. So there's got to be an actual malfunction to the round when I fire it. Okay. It then needs to hit a tree branch to lower the velocity enough to then tumble and then still potentially hit Charlie Kirk in the neck after tumbling through the tree branch to then have enough force to not go through the neck. There you go. I made the FBI's 30-06 story work. Does that sound realistic? That's the only way this works. But yeah, is it possible? Is it possible? Sure. But that is the only way a 30-06 is. And even then, guys, here's the thing. Let me be realistic. That story I just told blows through the tree branch and blows through Charlie's neck and blows the back of his neck out still. Probably. Like, that's a 1% chance with all of those factors that it doesn't cut through. Also, keep in mind, guys, the autopsy report, supposedly, right? There was a new autopsy report that just came out. Well, they said, where was that? I had it pulled it up here somewhere. Might be gone. But anyway, the new post by, I'm sure you guys might have seen it in my video I talked about, whether there was an autopsy or not an autopsy. The supposed autopsy says this 30-06 round severed Charlie Kirk's spinal cord. Severed it. Which, of course, it would sever it. But how did it sever his spinal cord? So it blew through his neck, just absolutely obliterated his spinal cord. But then the back of his skin, this tiny little, and you guys know your spine touches your skin, right? There's like a 1/8 inch of skin between your spinal cord. That 1/8 inch of skin after it has severed his spinal cord caught it like a, I don't know, like a net. And it held on there. No, I don't know if there really is an autopsy report. There was a big Twitter post that somehow claims it would. And again, guys, I mean, I'll show you this. I got this whole ballistics test coming, guys, and it's going to blow your minds, but I'll show it here if you guys haven't seen it. The ballistic test we did, and I'll show you guys. This is cow femur. Cow femur, guys. Cow femur is like this thick, and it's rock hard because it's holding up a 2,000-pound animal. And then we wrapped it in like 5 inches of beef. And this is what it did to the cow femur, guys. We got to listen to me.
Just wrapped up finishing our own 30-06 ballistic testing video that we're going to be putting out on YouTube.
That's just the femur.
Because I keep telling you guys how just utterly ridiculous this 30-06 narrative is. And we decided to do what these other ballistic videos haven't done, where they just show, shooting like a ballistic gel head and, a little bit of bone. No. We shot ridiculous shit. We shot cow femurs wrapped in 6 inches of beef. We shot 3/8-inch steel plates, 1/2-inch steel plates, just to show you guys what a 30-06 can really do. But don't take my word for it. Here's a little teaser before we put the YouTube video out.
All right, here we go. Here's our cow femur. This is retarded. Whoever just said this.
Damage to that.
You're dumb as fuck.
Literally snapped in half, and then our neck that we built.
All right. So whoever just said cow bone isn't more dense than human bone, do you? I don't know. Sometimes I don't even know why I deal with this. Do you not know why elk and cow and moose bone is far denser than a human bone? Does people not understand that? Because the animal weighs 2,000 fucking pounds, and it has to be able to withhold that much weight. Imagine putting 2,000 pounds on your back on a squat rack. What would happen? Your skeleton would snap in half because your bones aren't that dense. I love you guys, but some of you are legitimately retarded. Not all of you, like the 99.9% of you, but some of those comments I see, and I just, your mom was definitely taking too much Tylenol when she was pregnant. We'll just say that. Again, guys, 30-06. I brought this one home because this is 1/2-inch steel. Look how thick this is. It's as thick as my goddamn finger in steel. 30-06 round, blew right through it. 1/2-inch steel. Come on, dude. But Charlie's little tiny neck vertebrae. His little neck vertebrae stopped the round. It's a miracle. Yeah, for sure. All right, so I'm sorry, guys. I just, you guys are going to, you'll love this ballistics test. Oh, you know what else we shot with a ballistic test? Cow neck vertebrae. And cow neck vertebrae is like that thick and rock solid. What do you guys think happened to the cow neck vertebrae when we shot it with the 30-06? I bet you guys can guess. Oh, exploded, just like everything else does. All right, hit the super chats. Thank y'all very much. And then we got to do some giveaways. Why don't we get a giveaway going, right? We should do that. Let's get a giveaway going. We're giving away sweatshirts. So let's do giveaways while we hit the super chats. Keyword is going to be, let's see, VFT on the keyword. And here we go. Go ahead and launch your VFTs in the chat. We're giving away sweatshirts, guys, as a thank you for 300,000 subscribers. I mean, I feel like we just did 200,000, excuse me, 200,000 subscriber celebration like a month and a half ago. So you guys fucking are awesome. All right, super chats. Let's hit them as we go, and let all the people get in there to potentially win. The party that told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, it was their final most essential command. George Orwell. Yeah, don't believe your own eyes. There's a lot of that going on right now. Troops will be in every state. Do you think the Constitution can hold that? I mean, the Constitution is going to fall apart eventually. Hopefully not in our lifetimes. Shout out to Valhalla, new sub. Thank you. Welcome, brother. And looking from right to left, we should be looking from top to bottom. 100% agree with this. I really don't think. Now, there is some psychotic shit on both ends of the spectrum, right and left, but I really do believe this is a us versus them. So I don't like the Civil War rhetoric that we got going on. because I agree with you on that. I think it's a very elites versus the plebs situation we got going on. What about the hand-loaded 30-06 with a tip head from 300 Blackout? Keep in mind we're dealing with amateurs. Again, hand-loaded 30-06 doesn't matter. If you have enough grain in this cartridge to get it to fire, it's going to blow his head off every time. So that story just doesn't work. All right, we got, hold on. Come on, guys. VFT, you got 7,000 people in the chat and only 259 entries. We might be lagging. You guys like free stuff, right? Get in there on the giveaway. Those transcripts are either truth or the best cover story ever. The transcripts are very weird, Joe. I mean, this whole like the way he's talking, like, oh, I did it, my love. That's not, I've got a Gen Z kid, and that's not how they talk. None of them. Proper planning prevents peaceful performance. Yeah. Or piss poor performance, we used to always say. Shout out to Piehota. Yeah, great guess. Great guess. Someone tell Trump we found our new FBI director. Yeah, guys. I mean, fucking that dude, he instilled 10 times more confidence in me in that 1 hour discussion than literally anybody in the FBI by far. So maybe we need to send some messages to Trump of like, hey, probably should hire this guy. He knows what he's doing. Occam's razor benefits the most from this assassination as Congress voted no to release Epstein file. I mean, Occam's razor doesn't really make sense on the official narrative, right? For those who don't know what Occam's razor is, essentially the philosophical idea that if you're confronted with a conspiracy or something crazy like this, the explanation with the least amount of assumptions needed is the one that's most likely true. Unfortunately, the FBI story is the one that needs the most assumptions to make it work. So we're very backwards right now. All right, let's pick a winner because we're going to give a few of these away. Here we go. Let's see what we got. Also, listen to me. When you win, you need to message me, like confirming that you got it, and then you need to message me on Instagram, okay, with the size of sweatshirt you wear and your full name and address. Okay, you guys got that? And we'll decide what sweatshirt you got. We got a few of them. All right, here we go. Brian Mike. Make sure you message me. That's going to be our first winner. Once I see you, then we're going to do the next giveaway. All right, we'll keep going. Erica doesn't seem like a grieving widow. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to give my opinion on it because it's not going to make people happy. I'll leave it at that. CK was shot in the back of the head and the neck was an exit wound. Wasn't shot directly from any angle, they said. There's potential in that. I do think he was shot in the front. I do think he shot, and this is an interest wound, but I do think it's a low caliber ram, 300 Blackout or something like that. That's where I'm at, if I had to guess. But I'm not discrediting the behind either. There's just not enough information. Exploding earpiece, wired up. Nah, I don't think so. Because it hit him in the neck, not his ears. This guy curved the round. Yeah, maybe Tim was the shooter. He's pretty disgruntled. Love to see a follow up with you and Gary. Yeah, I'll message Gary and see if he wants to do one. See where he's at with his ideas. He's definitely very knowledgeable for sure. Bob bitchin', $10 growing up with an uncle in the CIA and one in the FBI. This investigation is a disgrace. The things I heard at the dinner table through there are lots of possibilities. Keep up the good work, bro. I mean, you heard it from Chris himself. He said this thing has been an entire fucked up debacle. He had no confidence in anything that the FBI was putting out. So, and I'm gonna, if that guy spent 25 years in the FBI and he says this is a shit show, it's obviously a shit show. Jeremy, $20. Thank you, brother. Mate, keep doing what you're doing. Love listening to you. Did we have Mike? You got to message me, Mike, or we're re-rolling. It's been almost 2 minutes, bud. You got another, I'm going to give you another 30 seconds and then we got to re-roll. Might just be lagging. I don't know. Or message on Instagram. Bone density is built by lifting weights. Yeah, well, that's not what Charlie Kirk did, unfortunately. Maybe if it was me, guys, and like I had, like, my neck is probably, probably 50% bigger than Charlie Kirk's, but still, it would decapitate me. It's not even a thing. It's silly. Keith Peterson, $20. VFT. Whoa, that's man, Keith. That's a way to try to win. You get the okay. Responded on Instagram. All right. So, yep. How'd I message Brian, Mike? We got you. My wife said you responded. Good to go. All right. We got a. Let's see. How do we do this? How do I reset this? Hold on. Keyword next. Next. All right. Go ahead and start spamming those VFTs. We're going to give away another one. We got about 20 minutes to get out for the kids' football game. We're going to give away as much stuff as we can in that short amount of time. Thank you all so much. Yeah, I mean, I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's been, the Charlie Kirk situation has been horrible. I really want to try to figure it out, right? Like, and I'm not going to be able to by myself, but I'm like you guys. I want the truth. I just want the truth for this, for Charlie, but also for America, because I'm just so fucking tired of us just being lied to about everything. And I think that we need that. And so the fact so many of you want to listen to what I have to say regarding this is very humbling. People like Alex Jones inviting me on and different big shows. But I haven't been able. I've got invited from some other really big shows that wanted to be in person, but I'm not trying to. I hate traveling. I don't want to get on an airplane. But I appreciate you guys like listening to me yap. I just try to I try to look at things objectively, not get tinfoil hat, not get conspiracy theory, and just bring the best perspective I can based off the knowledge that I have. And hopefully that helps the discussion, if it does, if it doesn't, but anyway, how do I enter the giveaway? You type VFT, brother. Just type VFT in the chat and you will be entered to win. We'll let that go for about another minute and then we're going to pick a winner. 22,250. It is possible. Maybe. Unspent ammo was found with engravings. What are the chances someone would bring different rounds with them? Also, why haven't those been analyzed? I don't know, man. Again, they said they were engravings and now they're saying they were written on with Sharpie. Also, why does every suspicious 22-year-old dipshit shooter that's got some questionable stuff going on with the FBI engrave their rounds? Is this, you know how hard it is to engrave a cylindrical object like this? It's not easy. It's like, so the second I heard the rounds are engraved, I immediately am like, well, this sounds like bullshit. Like, this sounds like it's probably Fed shit. Because regular people don't fucking engrave rounds, dude. But who knows? No pics of Erica pregnant. Oh boy, I don't want, man. I've seen a lot of stuff with her backstory come up, the stuff with Romania, and oh fuck, dude. Again, I don't want to go down that road. I'm not looking to get destroyed on social media by haters. I'll just say, yeah. How do I enter the giveaway? Again, VFT in the chat. She was saying none bone density comes from lifting weights, i.e. cow bones are way denser. None bone density? Yeah, cow bones and elk bones and deer bones and every giant, 300 pound to 2,000 pound animal has denser bones than a human. They do. It's funny how that works. All right, we're going to pick a winner. Here we go, everybody. Sam Kashima. Sam Kashima. Let us know if you got that. Message us on Instagram or message me right here so I know that you won. All right, hit a couple more super chats. And then we're going to do another giveaway. All right, you got about a minute to respond, 2 minutes to respond-ish, either on Instagram or here. At least put something so that I know that you got it, and then we can get you coordinated on Instagram. Sam Kashima. What did I won? Sam, are you in America? That last name is suspicious, and you can only win if you're in America. So message us on Instagram, said that you won. All right. Good enough. We are going to resend it right now for the next winner. All right, VFT's in the chat for the next winner. Guys, also typing VFT more than once is not going to help you. So don't spam. All right. It's a cliche gov, thinks we're 50 IQ and we'll believe it. And a lot of people are. A lot of people believe it. And a lot of people have just hook, line, and sinker, bought it. Yep. Official narrative. Dipshit kid on the roof, 30-06, shot him in the throat, didn't pass through. It's a miracle. Jesus saved him with his Wolverine neck. Good to go. Candace just dropped a short on the case. Candace, is that like on Instagram? Is it on Twitter? I don't have Twitter, so is it on Instagram? I don't follow Candace Owens. She's been saying some crazy shit that she's got proof that Tyler Robinson was never even at the campus during the time. I think I saw Candace Owens. Does she have Instagram? Let me look. Oh, you said short, so it would be on YouTube, huh? Oh. All right, let me look. Candace Owens YouTube. Let's check. Let's see what her new short is. I take everything. I take everything Candace says with a grain of salt, for sure. All right, let's see. Here's her newest short. The media narrative about Tyler Robinson. All right, let's take a look at this. Here we go. Oh, I need to pull up. We'll get the winner going here in a second. All right, let's look at Candace Owens' new short. And again, I don't have anything against Candace. I think she's just, kind of spirals a little bit. All right, so let's see. Here we go.
Okay, I didn't want to leave you guys on a crazy weekend cliffhanger. I needed to get that information out as soon as possible. Obviously, you can probably see that I received some information, a communication, which answered a lot of questions that the public has had about the story, or rather the non-story that we are getting from the feds. The push that Tyler Robinson is this lone shooter, which they're trying to establish as a fact. Some of the burning questions that we had. Okay, well, if he turned himself in, how did he also not confess? I now have the answers to that. The main point, the reason why this information came to me, is because there's an opinion right now by the media that Tyler Robinson is or was suicidal.
Yeah, of course.
That is not true. And that's a very scary thing.
Of course.
Suddenly they're saying he's suicidal and, he's in solitary. And he's not suicidal. So that was the reason why this information urgently came to me. Obviously, I know a lot more, and I'm going to share it with you guys on Monday. I just wanted to vet some of the things that I heard, ask some more questions from people that would know, and just to make sure everything I say is above board. And obviously, this lead led to more leads, and I want to give people a chance to respond. This is crazy. Nothing more that I can say. This is very serious. I don't know what's going on, but I do know that what we are being told has gone on is just not so. And this is really kind of going to begin, I think, to answer a lot of questions and many more questions that need to be asked. So I just wanted to let you know that what they're telling us about him being suicidal is not true.
All right, so interestingly enough, nothing she said there is surprising at all. I've literally said, I almost guarantee this kid is going to kill himself before trial because they're not going to be able to convict him. They don't have the evidence to convict him. If he has a good lawyer, he fucking walks free 10 out of 10 times. So again, I always take what Candace says with a grain of salt, but I don't know what evidence she has, but I agree with Candace on that one. Salute to Candace on that. Nothing shocking about that at all. Of course, that's what we should expect that to happen, right? I don't think anybody is actually surprised by that at all. It'd be interesting to see what information she actually has on behalf of that. But yeah, that's one of the least conspiratorial things I've seen out of Candace lately. All right, let's pick a winner. Here we go. Another sweatshirt. I don't know. Did that other guy message? I don't know what my wife's doing. All right, we'll pick a winner anyway. Here we go. Okay, guys. Are you in America? Maya's Packet Bush, or is this Cash Patel on a burner account? Are you in America? I feel like this is Cash Patel's cousin. You got to message me. What it says? I'm in Texas. All right, Maya's Packabush. All right, sorry for talking shit, buddy. All right, you are the winner. Hopefully I said your name right. Now I kind of feel bad because that was, message me on Instagram, Maya's, and we'll get it out to you. Okay, buddy. Sorry. All right, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep giving them away until we run out of time. Because why not? 300K, man. 300K is crazy. I think I've been officially I have been officially retired out of the military for 2 years and about 5 days. So that makes my YouTube channel right about 2 years old. So we've hit 300,000 subs in 2 years, which is pretty crazy, man. And that's thanks to y'all. You've been awesome about this. All right, let's get this going again. Here we go. Next VFTs. Bam. Let them fly. We'll keep hitting the super chats. Good one on that Candace. Whoever sent me on the what was that? Crikey? Thank you for that. That was actually a good one. Very interesting. Can you at least tell us more about her? What do you mean? Candace? I'm not sure. Sorry, brother. It's the timeline of when these have come in. I'm not sure. Erica. No pics of Erica pregnant. Look through all her tag post pics. Do the time frame that exists. Oh, man, this is you guys. You're gonna get me in trouble, man. I am not going down that road because I do not want the hate from the evangelical community. I just don't. There will not be a trial. Something will happen. We just talked about that, Ralph. You beat us to it. You can't handle the truth. Yeah, I know. That's normally the way it works. The Philadelphia Forces, $10. Thank you, brother. The video that's taken of Charlie's left side, you can see the bullet before it hit Charlie. You can see it slow motion. It came from behind. See it pass. Yeah, the problem, buddy, I have seen that video, and it looks super compelling. The problem is a 60 FPS camera can't pick up a bullet moving at 2,400 feet per second. If we're saying this is a 30-06, well, 24 to 2,800 feet per second, depending on the type of bullet and the grain weight and things like that. If it was a pistol round, I mean, it would still be tough for this iPhone to pick it up. A high-fidelity camera, 100% can pick up a bullet. So it'd be interesting to see if we could get the cameras of the high-fidelity cameras. That would also help. But it's really hard for me to tell if that's actually the bullet or not. But I have seen that video, and I do agree it is pretty compelling. All right, Utah State UVU has a direct pipeline program in the CIA. Do they? CIA's director is Professor Moore, MK Ultra. I think MK Ultra is always interesting when it comes to these types of things, especially with these. It's always a 21, 22-year-old white kid at a university every time. So, yeah, don't leave the house without my tinfoil hat. Yeah, you need it right now, man. You definitely need it. Thanks for the Asmongold vid, brother. I am not JD Delay. I love you. I am doing an Asmongold vid tomorrow on the secondary channel because I actually am a really big fan of Asmongold. For those of you who know that is, some people are surprised to hear that. They're like, you're a big fan of Asmongold? I'm like, yeah, I love his channel. All right. Let's choose a winner. We got about 10 minutes left. I got 5 minutes left, so we're gonna get 2 more winners out of this. Curvasman 1. Message me quick. And then we're going to get another one going. My second super chat got removed. They don't get removed, bro. I might have missed it. Sorry if I missed it, brother. But I have them all. They usually stay. Sorry if so. Matty Ice, $10. Tyler dropped off the wrong gun. He was supposed to drop off a foldable AR, probably 300 blackout, but left the wrong gun at the drop point. And now the FBI is trying to make the story fit. Man, Matty, I have said from the goddamn start, if he had a collapsible, AR-15 shooting a 300 blackout with a suppressor from that position on the roof, and actually there is potential. It's very unlikely that a 5.56 round doesn't penetrate all the way through, but it's possible. If that was the story from the beginning, I would honestly probably have just believed it. If they would have found a collapsible AR-15 in the wood line with 300 blackout rounds or 5.56 rounds, I would have said, story sounds pretty good, FBI. But they didn't. They made a little whoopsie. 30-06, boys. 30-06. That's what shot him, right? A little whoopsie on that. Would you ever collab with any of the unsub guys? Of course. So I met Brandon and Donut. I just talked to Fat Electrician today. So maybe eventually, in down in Texas here and there, I would like to. I really like those guys. We've talked about me, Fat Electrician, and JD Delay have talked about doing a 3-way stream or a 3-way collab together in person and all wear the exact same outfit with the exact same hat with the exact same beards, because everybody always says that they think we're all the same person. So it actually could be pretty funny, like the Spider-Man meme, me, JD Delay, and Fat Electrician. So yeah, I mean, if they'll have me on the show, I would love to go on the show. Great show, thank you. You showed me previous messages, but didn't read it. Honest question: was it too stupid to waste time? No, man, I'm not trying to do that. It's just we got tons of messages coming in, and I'm trying to get through them and do giveaways and everything. So if I missed it, okay. Crevassman said he messaged on Instagram. Awesome, brother. We'll get that hoodie to you. All right, we're gonna do one more giveaway, and then I got to get to the football game. Thank you all very much, guys. These live streams have been absolutely insane. Ballistic. We've been anywhere from like 6,000 to 10,000 to 12,000 concurrent viewers. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to me fucking yap with my guests. We're trying to have some like really cool guests on, like we did today with Chris. I mean, what an awesome guest that was. Hope we can get him to come back on. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. All right, Tyler James Robinson, Austin Dean Robinson. Oh, guys, you know what I didn't even get to today? Shit. Was the Snake Eyes. The Nicolas Cage. It was Nicolas Cage, right? Yeah, she's ignoring me. The Nicolas Cage Snake Eyes comparison. Have you seen this? Have you guys fucking seen this? Oh my God. If you want to talk about weird conspiracy shit, the Snake Eyes movie. When's Brent coming back on? I was supposed to have Brent on this week. But we had Chris on instead. Also, I still have my episode with Brent that's coming out. Do you guys want Brent? Hold on. We gotta go. Mm-hmm. It's 6:29. I got 6 minutes. It's 6:30 and we need to leave here in 10 minutes. Oh, all right. I got 6 minutes. All right, we got 6 minutes. My wife's pissed at me. Hold on. Do we want Brent to come on Friday? Next live? Maybe we can get him come on tomorrow. Hold on. I can force Brent to do it. Little fucker. Let's get a quick poll. Brent Tucker on next live ? Yes or no? Let me know what you guys think. Hit the poll. Don't piss off my wife. I'm really good at that, actually. All right, we got to choose a winner. Rocky Mountain Bear. Finally. That's a username, buddy. That's an American username, baby. You know it. Rocky Mountain Bear. Message us on Instagram. All right, that's the last giveaway, guys. We'll hit the last couple super chats. Where to learn about Erica? I gotta know what you mean. I just Google it. Someone believe a human bone is denser is referencing my comment thinking cows need to lift heavier, denser bones. Daddy V. .K. Thank you. I kind of got lost after the military government contract work, but you motivated me to be originally said we're running at 0600. Well, thank you. I'm glad I could motivate you. I don't know how I did, but anybody I can help, especially coming out of the military, it's a very hard thing, right? Trying to find yourself. So I'm glad that you're finding that. Physical fitness is a great way to keep with that. Sup, man? Let me get that win. I don't think you won, brother. Please tell me more about Erica. I am not going to do that. You can Google it. JD Doppelganger. Yep, that's not me. I'm not JD Delay, but JD's my buddy, and he lives 10 minutes down the road, and we do content together with each other, so not that big of a deal. You thinking Fetty Cash, CPA Patel's girlfriend has some sway? Yeah, probably, because she's a Mossad agent. Oh, shouldn't have said that. I'm going to get demonetized. Whoopsies. Oh, well, fuck Cash Patel. Oh, whoopsies. Shouldn't have said that either. All right. Don't clip that, please, everybody. You think misinformation from the feds is a way to weed out BS leads? Maybe. Do you think someone from the FBI created a story that is so that the public would question it? There's a lot of talk about that. Cause chaos, confusion, make it so obvious that it's fake to kind of show everyone we can do whatever we want. I think that's kind of an interesting take. Why did you pave lay down brick floor right after the shooting? I don't know. Super fucking sketchy. Makes no sense and makes me go, what are you guys doing? All right, so before I spiral out of control and get myself canceled, that is going to do it, guys. My wife is pissed at me already. We're going to be a little bit late to the game. That's okay. Rocky Mountain Bear said, woohoo, thank you. Messaged us on Instagram. Rocky Mountain Bear will get you that. All right, everybody. Guys, we might do a live stream tomorrow. Let's say if I can get Brent Tucker to come on the live stream tomorrow night. I might have to bully him. then maybe we'll do a live. If not, I can probably get him to come on Friday. So what did our poll say? Did I not put out a poll? I thought I put a poll out. Oh, there it is. 94% said yes, they want Brett Tucker. Also, guys, my episode with Brent is done, but I'm trying to catch up on all this crazy shit with Charlie Kirk. I need to do a video. I have it done on the lapel mic gunshot. I have the 30-06 video coming out also, and then the Brent episode is going to come after that. We also are going to do episodes on the United States basically going potentially back to war in Afghanistan and take Bagram Air Force Base, and the crazy shit where 700 generals are being pulled together. I don't know. Are we going to go full 1979 Saddam and execute a bunch of generals in front of the American public, like the Ba'ath Party purge? I don't know. Maybe not. Could be weird. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank y'all so much. These lives have been crazy. You guys are the best. I appreciate all the support. I love you guys. And yeah, I will text Brent after this and see if I can bully that little fucker to come on the show this week. And that will do it. I got to get to a football game. Thank y'all. Have a good night.